The Cheetah Portal. As it turns out, my confidence in Joseph as a driver is premature. After the bumpy plane ride and laying on of hands by the locals at the airport, Mom and I once again hold on for dear life as we speed down the highway. Joseph has abandoned the brakes for his horn. I shake my head to loosen the shreds of gauze as I try to prepare myself for what lies ahead. And as it turned out, today a promise would be fulfilled. We arrive at the Nairobi Animal Orphanage to meet Bwana's daughter, Tana, and his granddaughters, and to come face to face with my destiny. We walk in through the gate, and Tana directs one of the keepers to retrieve the key to my providence. We are taken first to the baby hyena cage, and I listen half-heartedly to stories of the behaviors of these dangerous animals. I am dazed and cannot focus as I glance about. I feel the magic close by. Finally, the keeper of the key arrives, and I am led to an enormous enclosure. I am the first allowed in. Some warthogs are causing trouble across the compound. At the fence, alert and intense, paces a she-cheetah, the regal creature of my fascination and affections. Her Majesty is named Tiva. She and her two sisters, Misty and Sharon, are 3 years old and have been here since their mother was killed in the wild. They are completely tame, we are told, yet the intensity in her posture, the focus of her stare at the warthogs, tells a different story, one of instinct and wildness. She will never be truly tame. I have instant respect for her, and while I have not at any moment felt fear for any of the animals we have observed, I approach with caution. This moment has been in the making since I was 8. Back then, my best friend was a seemingly ancient woman named Beth. She had 26 cats in and around her house. She taught me their ways and she taught me their indifference. She told me that if a cat approaches, it is because she wants to, not because she is summoned. She talked to me of the wild. She taught me patience with the feline. And at this moment, as I approach the wild, tame cheetah, I recall her advice from so many years ago. When you are in Africa and face to face with the wild cat, don't show her fear. Stand still and let her come to you. If you are afraid, she will smell it. This wise old woman taught me many things in my early years, but when she spoke of Africa and my facing down a cat in the wild, all I could do was dream. I was sure I'd never see a cat in the wild, sure I'd never go to Africa, and yet here I was, and there she was, and there was no fear for her to smell. I wept under cover of my dark glasses. Another of the great beasts, Misty, lies in the middle of the enclosure as Tiva continues to pace at the fence. I approach Misty with caution and gingerly pat her on the head. The magnificent cat purrs. I feel the rumble beneath my fingers and hear her happiness in my throat, feeling it all the way to my toes. I slip my hand under her chin. She stretches out her neck and reaches closer to me, closes her eyes and relishes my seasoned touch. There is no danger here. This is for me, this visit. Bwana had planned it with his daughter a month before we landed in Arusha. He told Tana of my magic with the cheetah, and she had told him of the 3 sister cheetahs at the orphanage. This visit was to be a surprise, but turned out to be the ace up his sleeve. He told me about it that first morning, when I had told him I could not go on. That morning, as a way to get me to continue, he had made a promise. I would pet a cheetah. And finally, here I am, looking into the face I have studied and dreamed of and loved, the most perfect thing I have ever seen. I take her face into my hands and stare into those huge amber eyes as I scratch under her chin. I examine close up the permanent tear streaks and feel her trust in me. I am alone with her in that moment. I care about nothing else, and as I squat there on that red earth, I fall into a trance. Something powerful is happening, and I struggle to breathe through my tears. The air has grown thick as steam and moves around me, holding me in its vortex. I am transfixed on this creature that so captivates me, and I know that I have been brought here to this land of her birth and her life for a reason. Bwana is saying something, and I turn toward him. I can barely see him, hear him through the haze. At first I think it is the bumpy plane ride that has unhinged me, but then I realize spirits are slowly moving around me, caressing me. I feel Mom, but she is not alone. I struggle to focus on Bwana as the spirits play around me. He is saying he has to let the others in now, and reluctantly I back away from Misty to let the others have their turn. I walk over where another cheetah lies on the earth and squat next to her while the others are led into the enclosure toward Misty. I could still feel Misty's eyes on me as I place my hand under Sharon's chin to scratch. She responds with a resounding purr, and the vibration calms my rising anxiety. I feel like I have been preparing for this moment all my life, and yet I cannot see through the vapor. I am absorbed in my cotton candy fog and focus all of my attention on Sharon. I am unaware that Tiva has left her concentration on the warthog across the compound and has approached us. She leans into me and nearly knocks me off balance. She would have startled me if my perceptions weren't so heavily weighted. I turn toward her, and out of the corner of my eye I see her bow, forepaws on the ground, rump in the air. I can't believe what is happening. I know my imagination is playing tricks on me in my stupor. I turn to Tiva. "Are you doing the popoki press?" I ask her in cat speak. I expect an answer from her, as this is my dream. Tiva gets up from her bow and walks around me. She comes to me and runs a sandpaper tongue along my arm, as if to answer my question. To my delight, she doesn't stop there, but rather licks my neck and then my chin. Cheetah kisses. I could not have orchestrated it, could not have choreographed it, could not have been more pleased, but I was stunned. Have these things really happened, or is this my imagination going nuts? Even if they have happened exactly as I have fantasized it 1,000 times, nobody will believe it. And that, somehow, is okay. This is my moment, and I know you will believe me, even if you are the only one. My body is leaden as I get up to leave. Emotion floods through me, and my mind is working through the molasses, trying to sort out what has just happened here. It is epic. Of that there is no doubt, even if the epic is only a dream. I walk out of the enclosure and glance back at the glorious sisters. It is as I leave the gate that Tana, standing next to her own daughter, Tiva, hands me a draft proposal. It's a plan for an organization raising money to secure wells and hand pumps for the rural areas, where the scarce water is contaminated, killing their children and their livestock. The moment and the reason come together and solidify into purpose.